Samantha Skelly, it is so good to see you.
It's so nice to be here. I'm so excited to drop in with you.
So it was cool. So we ran into each other backstage at Destiny Fest, an event put on by Giovanni Marsico that we both spoke at, and you caught me in the green room, and we had a very nice hug, and then an awesome catch up session, and then I text you like right after. I'm like, "Come on the podcast," right? So here you are.
I'm so happy we made this happen. This is so good.
Yeah. And you are right now. I mentioned for those that aren't watching this, but they're listening. You have a beautiful, like it's a log cabin background. I can see the wood stove pipe that goes up to the ceiling behind you. So where are you right now? What are you doing?
I know. I text you. I'm like, I'm not in my normal studio. So it's going to be a little bit of
Uh,
like a cabin vibe happening here. We're up in Ottawa, California, running a retreat for my mastermind. I have like 33 women up here, and we're just working on like energy and embodiment and wealth consciousness and building soulful businesses. And so we've been doing like so much breath work and moving and dancing and journaling and just playing. Like the theme of this retreat is adult summer camp. So I was like, you guys, leave your adults at home because we're going to evolve and we're going to transform through the portal of play and joy, not through hard work. So we've just
mm,
been like playing the whole time, eating s'mores, having a good
right.
time. So that's
Oh,
where we
that's
at.
so good. That's so good, and that's such a way of approaching life that many of us are not doing, and we're forgetting, right? Which is like you should enjoy. To me, it's like I have a it's enjoy every moment. I have this
Mhm.
big like sign when you walk into my house. It's like a picture of like a dock and the whole dock and the lake, and it just says enjoy every moment. And easier said than done sometimes, right? But that's what we aspire to.
But having that frame is so beautiful. It's like having the standard of like, I'm dedicated to enjoying every single moment. Like just something as like a simple frame like that. And then when we find
Yeah,
ourselves in moments where, doubt creeps in or whatever it is, we get to come back to that frame to go, what would I do right now to infuse more joy in my life? Right. If
yeah,
that's my frame of like, I'm gonna like, why not enjoy every moment? Like we're on this planet for such a finite amount of
yeah.
time. So how can I organize my thoughts and my energy in my body to just like bring more joy in. I love that.
I believe that at the end of our lives that we're going to look back and we're going to feel maybe regret that we didn't enjoy more moments. Like, the problems are going to be in life anyway,
Yeah.
and you can either
Yeah.
allow the problems, the external to
Yeah.
dictate your internal, or you can go, man, this sucks right now. I'm going through a difficult time and I'm going to enjoy every moment while I figure out this craziness and this
Yeah.
chaos that I'm in the midst
Yeah.
of, right?
Yeah, it's like life is simultaneously so tragic and so beautiful. If you were to ask me right now, tell me 100 things in your world that are like crunchy, I could tell you. And I could also
Yeah.
tell you 100 things in my world that are so beautiful and so blissful and so amazing. And the practice and the discipline is like, what are we going to focus on? What are we
Yeah.
going to focus on? Because that ultimately is going to create momentum in the direction of what we want. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, life is the duality of life is the beauty of life. The duality of life is the beauty of life. And the moments where we are in those contractions and our bodies are in pain and we're in fear and the whole thing, it actually makes the moments that we're in bliss and joy so much richer and so much more beautiful. It's like if we have steak and lobster every single night, it's going to get a little bit boring, right? But if we have
Yeah.
like some meals that aren't as good, the steak and lobster is going to be so epic. So, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
beauty of life, duality in everything.
Yeah. The peaks and the valleys, right?
Yeah.
One thing I appreciate about you, and I'm reminded of it as the first 5 minutes of our conversation here, is that you blend the woo woo with the how do I even put it? Well, I'll just put it this way. You're very spiritual and you're a highly successful founder and CEO of a company, right? You're leading 33 women right now in a mastermind, which is part of your business, and you're playing in a cabin, right? Like, so yeah, I love that, right? And there's a little bit more duality, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you name that because the company that I had before Pause Breathwork was called Hungry for Happiness. And I ran that business in a very different way.
Mm,
I didn't know the laws of energy and realizing that energy is absolutely everything and we are commanding reality with our energy moment by moment, breath by breath. I didn't know that. And
yeah.
so I did business the way that I learned through my environment. I came from a a family of athletes and entrepreneurs, and the way that they did business was very different than the way that I do it now. And it was more
Mm,
like force, hustle, like work, like the harder I work, the more money I make. Like it was very masculine, right?
yeah.
And obviously I'm a woman, and so I got to this place with my old business where I was like, if that's what it's gonna feel like on a daily basis, I don't want anything to do with that. And I had this moment of like, how can I blend? Because I am very strategic and I'm a high achiever and I love business and it's so fun for me. But I also am, to your point, I have this side of me that is very energetic and spiritual. And I really like believe in that more than anything else. And
Yeah.
so I just created a reality of like, I get to have both. I get to have
Yeah.
my business feel embodied and fun and creative. And the mastermind that I'm running right now is called the Life Mastermind, which stands for lucrative, impactful, fun, and easy. And I'm like,
Ooh.
everything in life is created twice. It's created once in our minds and in our bodies, and then it's created in reality. So if we want to create something, we have to believe it's so true in advance, and we have to create the certainty in our bodies. And so I just came to this place where I'm like, no, I believe that I can do, 10, 20, $30 million in my business at a 30% profit margin and do it from a place of just pure fun, play, and joy. And so I had to create the identity before I actually manifested it in reality.
I'm so inspired. I have a direction I want to go in the podcast, and now I'm like, I want to go in a different direction. So I might bring you back on, like, because I really do. I mean, even selfishly, I want more of that personally. Like I
Yes.
want to, I think I'm going to join your mastermind. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, the way you approach it, I'm like, I need more. I'm still too much on the,
Yeah.
the push drive, etc.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think I need to bring a little more spirituality into my business world. Let me start here because first I'll give you a bit of I'll set the tone here, which is the Miracle Morning community. And this is
Yeah.
the Achieve Your Goals podcast, but it's really one and the same. It's listened to by the Miracle Morning community. And Breathwork is part of the S.A.V.E.R.S. It's probably the least prevalent part. And that may
Yeah.
be because it's something that I've never gone deep into it. So like
Uh-huh.
the S in S.A.V.E.R.S of the Miracle Morning silence, I
Uh-huh.
almost always talk about meditation, prayer, and then as an afterthought, and breath
Mhm.
work, right? But it's
Yeah.
not from a place like when I do my Miracle Morning, it's almost always meditation and prayer. And breath work
Ah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
occasional. I've actually had
Mhm.
breath work experiences at the Front Row Dads event where I was we did a 45-minute breath work session, and I'm doing the breath work and it's intense. And I'm like, probably 5 minutes in, and I'm like, this is not, I'm listening to the guide, and I'm like, this isn't working for me. And I
Yeah.
want anyone that's never done breath work to listen to what I'm saying right now. So I'm like, this isn't working for me. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, this is a waste of time. And it's not even comfortable. I'm kind of
Mhm.
uncomfortable right now.
Mhm.
And probably around minute 7 or so, might have been minute 12. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I start bawling my
Mhm.
eyes out. I have
Mhm.
a somatic experience, which I don't have a lot of experience with. And I start
Mhm.
bawling my eyes out. And then I start talking to myself in a way of like prayer. I'm like, it's like a conversation with God. And I'm like telling myself how you're safe. You've been through a lot. And I mean, I don't remember all the words. I have it in my journal. It was a couple years ago, but I was like, oh my God. And then afterwards, John Vroman, the leader of Front Row Dads, was like, anybody want to share their experience? And this is the first night of the event. There's like 200 guys. I raise my hand and I just start bawling. And I'm like trying to share what happened. And I'm like, I just
Yeah.
experienced so much self-love, which felt like it came from God, right? Not just self, my highest
Yeah.
self. Um,
Yeah.
so all of that is to say
Yeah.
that is what's possible with
Mhm.
breath work from my experience, like an out of body, totally spiritual ayahuasca level, right? Like something that you would hire a
Yeah.
shaman and then you would
Yeah.
drink a tea that was brewed from bark and leaves in the Amazon. But no, it's literally just your breath that
I know.
can get
Yeah.
you there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I set the
I love
table with
that.
that. And I would imagine that most of our listeners are like, they don't do, some do breath work, but I would guess it's less, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
bringing you in as you are
yeah.
the founder of the world's leading breathwork brand, Pause Breathwork.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I want to know how you got into this, and
Yeah,
then like you
yeah,
can capitalize on what I said, and like what's breathwork?
yeah,
Why do people do it? Why should people try it?
yeah,
Let's go
yeah.
there.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I freaking love that because one of my favorite things is teaching breath work to men who
Mm,
haven't yet tapped into their emotional body, right? We have a mental
mm,
body, we have an
mm.
emotional body, and then we have a spiritual body. And so many of us, men and women, but a lot of times I love it when men do the breath because they're like, oh, there's something to do. Okay. I'm not just sitting
Uh,
here in meditation, right? There's an
yeah,
actual, like, there's a
that's
movement that's
interesting.
happening. And so it works really well with men because there's an active practice and the active practice gets them into a deeper state of embodiment. So we can talk about that a little bit later.
Mm,
But you mentioned like that like 7 minute mark. It might have been 8 minute. Science shows us that at the 8 minute mark of breathing in a continual conscious way, the response of the amygdala slows down. So our survival
mm,
strategies sort of like slow down. The part of us that's like, don't cry, don't do this, don't say this. All of that sort of goes away, and we have direct access to our emotional body, and we're just going to release whatever
wow.
tension is there. And so, so beautiful. And then the other thing that I'll say about prayer and meditation. So, breath work before prayer and breath work before meditation actually strengthens those practices because we get to clear the channel, clear the emotionality, clear the mind. And so we have more of a direct access to God. Like when I do breath work and then I pray, I feel like God's in
Mm,
the room. I'm like, oh my
mm,
goodness, like this is amazing. And then when I do breath work before meditation, my meditation is so much stronger because I've already released my monkey mind. And that's what the breath
mm,
does.
mm.
So, my origin story of breathwork. I grew up as a dancer and a child actress. I was a stunt double on Smallville for many years, and I struggled really bad with anxiety, with body image issues, with disordered eating, the whole thing. And I was a personal development junkie, but I couldn't figure out why I knew everything, but nothing was changing.
Mm.
Like I would wake up in the morning and my first thought was, "Oh, I can't wait to go to bed tonight." And not because
Yeah,
I didn't
I've
wanna
been there.
live. Yeah, but it was I'm like, "I don't wanna die, but I just don't wanna have to listen to my thoughts all day long. I don't
Mm,
wanna have to struggle through this day, this anxiety, like fighting food, fighting my body, my inner critic." I'm like, "Sleep is the only time that I get peace." And so I did every sort of personal development, like life coaching and therapy and behavior change and 47 Tony Robbins events and like the whole thing. And I'm like, nothing's working. Like I'm just learning more, but nothing's changing. And I
mm.
was getting so frustrated because I was consuming, but nothing was integrating. So I read the book Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she talks about going to Bali and finding this medicine man. And there was something in my intuition. I was like 22 years old at the time. There was something in my intuition that was like, you need to go there. You need to book a one-way ticket to Bali and you need to go figure out what is there for you. So I did that. I booked a one-way ticket to Bali and I remember just being on the plane being like, what am I doing? Why
Mm.
am I going here? But you know when your mind's like telling you one thing and doubting everything and your soul is like just keep moving.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
got there. I found the guy, the actual guy that she talks about in the book. I remember pulling up the Lonely Planet book. I don't know if those things they still exist, but he was in the Lonely Planet. I found his address. I remember I had a paper map and I'm on the scooter meandering through Bali trying to find this guy's house or healing center. I pull up there and there's a line of people out because the book obviously made him popular. And I waited in that line for hours. And I'm like, again, there's that voice in my head that's like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? It's my turn. He pulls out these big long sticks and he does the acupuncture thing on my feet. And he's
Okay.
like, he just taps me on the head and he's like, you need to go meditate. Your brain is way too busy. Like, you think way too much. And at the time, I hated meditation because someone who has
Mm.
ADHD, body image issues, so much anxiety, the last thing you want to do is sit and feel your feelings and listen to your thoughts. So it's
Yeah.
excruciating. But then there was that inner voice that was like, you came all the way here, just go listen to him. So I found a meditation class, a meditation school. And there was no meditation class on the schedule, but there was a breathwork class. And this was 17 years
Aha.
ago before breathwork was cool, right? Breathwork
Yeah.
is so cool now, but back then not so much. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what is that? And it was a 3-hour class. And I was like, we're
Uh,
gonna breathe for 3 hours. Like, what the heck? And again, God was like, just get in there. Just
go.
go do this. So anyway,
You're
I
destined to
opened the
start
door.
pause breath work. Just go.
Yeah.
Trust me, it'll all
Seriously.
make sense.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, like, "Don't give up now, girl, let's go."
yeah.
So I walk up these stairs, I open up the door, everyone's lying down with pillows and blankets. This guy, it was dressed all in white with a beard, he looks like Jesus, and he came up to me and he just goes, "Are you ready to go on the ride of your life?" And I was like, "That's strange." I'm like, "What's gonna happen in this
Uh,
room?" And he's like, "You are going to experience the entire range of human emotion. You are going to shed everything that you're holding on to that no longer serves you. You're going to feel the highest states of joy and bliss." And I was like, "Dude, you do not know me." I'm like, "I hang out in numbness and anxiety. Like those are the
yeah.
two neighborhoods that I hang out in. Like don't ask me to feel anything else cuz I literally can't."
Yeah.
And so we lied down and he taught the breath pattern, which was a 3-part breath that we teach at Pause. And within like 3 to 4 minutes of doing that, I felt the electricity just like coming back into my body. Like I could feel, like my hands felt like light beams and my heart was cracked open. And then I hit that 8-minute mark and all of my survival strategies dissolved. And I felt the most intense feeling of self love I have ever felt in my entire life.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it just rippled through my body. And that 3 hours felt like 10 minutes because time just sort of collapses when you're in a space like that.
Yeah.
And I woke up from that experience and I went up to this Jesus looking dude and I'm like, what on God's green earth was that? And he was like, that was you. Like your breath is the bridge that
Mm,
connects you back to you. And I'm like,
mm,
why don't they teach this in school? Like, why does the whole world not know that we can do this? Like, this is so unfair.
wow. And you
And
were
he
how
said
old at
to
this time, by the way? How old?
I was like 22.
Okay.
Okay, this is weird actually. When did your book come out? What
2012.
year? 2012. Dude, I remember reading your book during this time period. So I'm
No
36
way.
now. I'm 36 now and I was 22 then. So that timing's about accurate because I
Yeah.
remember reading your book while I was like in this time period.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, that'd be 14 years. Yeah. That's crazy.
Holy crap, full circle moment. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Come
then
on.
I went back to my hotel room. Like, so I said, why does the whole world not know this? And I just remember him saying, maybe you're the one to tell them.
No
And that was,
way.
I swear, that was the little seed that he planted. I rode my scooter back to my Airbnb or my bed and breakfast. And I just started Googling on the world's slowest internet. It took so long for each page to load. Like, what is breath work? What just happened? Who are the breathwork experts? And I just got like emails of people who do this in the world. And I just sent these cold emails, Hal, like to 22 years old. I'm like, you don't know me, but I need you to mentor me because I need to understand everything about this. I need to
Wow.
understand what just happened, why I feel like this, why I feel so amazing, what is going on. And so a few of them responded, Stan Groff being one of them from holotropic breathwork. And I began my journey studying with him. And I was just a student for 8 years. I was like, I just want to soak in everything there is to know about this. I never intended of starting a breathwork company. I just was so obsessed with the medicine of breath and healing myself and my body and my thoughts. And then God works in mysterious ways. And in 2018, I just got like a very clear, like, you need to teach the world to breathe from God. And as soon as that download came in, I pivoted everything and just went all in. And so
Wow.
that's my vibe. That's my
That's
mission.
it.
Yeah.
And that wow, that 3-part breath, the 3-part breath or breath work technique that you just mentioned, that is, I did that this morning because that's in the Miracle Morning app that you taught, right? I'm sure I'll mention this when I introduce you in the beginning, but the Miracle Morning app does have a Samantha Skelly Miracle Morning breath work track. And as you
Mhm.
mentioned, when you do breath work before prayer, or it opens you up to God. Breath work before meditation, it opens you up to your highest self. And that's what you do in the track, right? Is like, it's a 30-minute track, it's a full-blown breath work session, but you start with the breath work and then you go into all of the other S.A.V.E.R.S after the breath work has opened you up. um
Yeah.
I want to say this just for folks that have never done breath work. It's actually hard. It can be
Yeah.
uncomfortable, like,
Yeah.
right? Like I mentioned, when I was doing that breathwork session, I was like, this is uncomfortable. Like it doesn't,
Mhm.
it's work. It's like, it's going to the gym,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's an
Yeah.
important
100%.
expectation to set, because if people don't have that and they expect it to just be like meditation where you're just like sitting there and you're not doing anything, right? Then they're like, wait, I don't like, I'm 3 minutes in and like I'm kind of uncomfortable, what are your, yeah, like, what, obviously this is your world. What would you say to somebody to like set the right expectation for them to get the most out of breath work?
I tell people when I teach them, I'm like, you're going to hate me and you're going to hate this for the first 4 minutes. And that's just the way it be sometimes.
Got
Okay.
it. Love it. Okay. Perfect.
Because there's that on ramp, right? We're like bringing more energy into the body. We're opening up, like we're stretching our muscles where our muscles don't stretch, right? Like bringing the breath right into our lower sort of like sacral area. It's like, it feels uncomfortable. We get a little bit dizzy because we're increasing the amount of oxygen that we're bringing into our body. So
Hmm.
I just tell people straight up, I'm like, listen, you're not going to love this for the first 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going to hit that 8 minute mark and you're going to think that this is the greatest thing in the entire world. So if you can just hang out
Yeah.
or until then, you're going to be good. But and then over time, that first 4 minutes becomes more and more bearable because the
Mm.
body just gets used to it and those muscles strengthen. And the best way to get abs, by the way, is breath work. Like I
Oh,
swear by it
wow. Nice.
because
Nice.
we're really engaging the body and we're really using those lower muscles and opening up the heart, opening up the lungs. And there's so much science and so much evidence around like our lung capacity and how it improves longevity and just our overall well-being and health. So the reason why I love breath work so much is because it really, one practice has the capacity to have an impact on our physical health, on our
Mm.
mental health, on our
Yeah.
emotional health, and our spiritual health in one
Mm.
practice, right? It's so beautiful. Like it, from a health perspective, I mean, there's so much science coming out around how it impacts our physicality. With the mind, again, I shared a little bit about shifting it from that fear mind survival strategy
Mm.
into a clear mind. Emotionality, I mean, when we don't process our feelings, like feelings that are not felt don't just disappear. They fester,
Yeah.
they mutate, they have an impact on everything and they make us just feel emotionally constipated. So
Yeah.
when we're just full of trauma and full of emotion, we're not feeling ourselves. Our bodies are just like stuck and they're lethargic. So the
Yeah.
breath helps unpack a lot of that emotion and just processes it through the body. Like we've been given this incredible ability to heal our bodies through feeling. We just haven't been taught the pathways of that. And then on the spiritual side, like I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with God after breath work. And I just feel like the connection is just so clear. I feel connected to the trees and the earth and God and people and mission. It's just so potent, right? It's like when that part of us, our spirituality is dimmed or we're feeling like we're not a part of something bigger, it can bring up a lot of depression and anxiety. And so breathwork is really beautiful for people who do struggle with anxiety and depression to like remind their body that
Mm.
we're connected to something so magnificent.
Yeah. Well, and it's what I experienced that day, where the emotionality, like I haven't cried most of my life. My sister died when I was 8 years old. My 18-month-old
All
baby
right.
sister died in front of me.
Oh,
And
oof.
I immediately went to like lightheartedness. I was like, oh, she's in heaven. That's great. Heaven's the best place ever. And I think they
Mhm.
call that like a spiritual bypass or an emotional bypass. I had no
Yeah.
idea at the time. I didn't figure this out until like 5 years ago or 10 years ago in therapy or whatever, right? Like where we were
Yeah.
uncovering, and they're like, so what happened when your sister died? I'm like, oh, I just made a joke. And they're like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I think that moment I was like, oh, if you just find humor in anything or lightheartedness, you don't have to feel whatever these weird things that were starting to come up for an 8-year-old kid, right?
For sure. For
So
sure.
when I did that breath work, right? It was
Yeah.
like that was releasing all this pent up emotion that, like you said, it
Yes.
doesn't go anywhere. It
Yeah.
gets stored in your body. Um,
Yeah.
and then the
Can I
spiritual,
double
God
click
just
into that for
started.
just can
Yeah.
I double click into that just for a second? Because that's really profound. And
Mm,
I just want to extract it just for a moment. So it's like
yeah.
when you were 8 years old and you had trauma or like a life event that was so intense, the intelligence of your body created humor as a protector.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just so wild how the body does that. And there's so many different protectors that the body naturally develops in order to protect these wounds, these ruptures, these moments of trauma, right? We can have there's the comedian, right? Which is such a gift too because you are so funny, right? It's like such a gift, but it's like
Yeah.
and then there's the other side of it. It's like what is it protecting us from not feeling, right? There can be
Totally.
the victim. The victim of like I'm not going to feel this, so I'm going to play the victim or there's the people pleaser. Right? We have the body develops all these different protectors to
Yeah.
protect us from not feeling the impact of the thing.
Yeah.
And so as we grow up, it's really about, okay, why can I feel that trauma? Can I feel that pain? Because then I won't need this protector anymore. I won't need the
Mm,
part of me that's like playing a role or posturing. So I just want to double click into that because
yeah.
that's so powerful.
Yeah, no, it's a double-edged sword. It's like I developed this emotion, I call it emotional invincibility, where I was able to deal with
Yes.
anything without, like I
Mhm.
could just make the best of anything. And it's a superpower. And I had no empathy for other humans because I did not understand what it felt like. Right. So being in a marriage where she's like, my wife would be like, you don't feel anything other than happy all the time. And most people are like, that's great. But it's I think, in fact, I'd love to ask you, I've heard you say something that resonates with me. You've said that emotional suffering
Mhm.
is optional. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
totally resonate with that, but I want to hear you unpack that from with your wisdom. Like, what do you mean
Mhm.
by that? And how does breathwork play a role in enabling people to put an end to their
Yeah.
emotional suffering?
Yeah. So I'll make a distinction between suffering and pain. So
Mm-hmm.
pain is such a gift. Like
Mm,
the energy of pain creates worlds. It builds us into better humans. It's such a teacher. Pain is such a teacher, you
mm,
know? And God designed that energy for us to learn and grow and evolve. So pain is a beautiful thing. When we create stories around our pain, like I shouldn't feel this, I'm weak, whatever it is, we resist our pain. We take
yeah.
something so pure that is a divine teacher and we turn it into suffering.
Mm,
So when we can be present with our pain, because all pain is a sensation, right?
mm,
All pain is is sensation. And a lot of the world has a really destructive story attached to the sensation of pain, which immediately puts it into the camp of suffering. So if we're really just with the sensation of pain and we allow ourselves and we permission ourselves to actually just feel it through all the way through without
mm,
stuffing it down, suffocating it, trying to control it or pushing it away, then it actually alchemizes back into power. Like every
mm,
little tiny bit of pain that we experience is power. Like it has so much power if we actually use it. So, the whole concept of making emotional suffering optional is teaching people the pathways of actually feeling pain and
mm,
using breath as a tool to feel that pain a lot easier. So,
mm,
oftentimes people feel emotionally constipated because they're not allowing the energy to move through their body. They're not allowing themselves to break down. They're not allowing themselves to somatically get it out of their bodies, like punching pillows and like dancing it out
yeah.
and pushing against walls. And, when I feel if something happens like at work, for instance, of like I get triggered at work, I take a moment and go, okay, I'm in a state of pain right now. There's a trigger that's happening. And if I try and work through the trigger, everyone is going to receive that energy from me. Everyone's going to receive the energy of annoyance or frustration or irritability. So let me take a quick 5. That's all it takes. Let me
Yeah.
take 5 minutes. Let me breathe through it. Let me process it through. Let me get curious about why did that thing trigger me? It's not because of the email, it's a memory from a past timeline. So, what is
Okay.
that? And let me do some work on that so that I can alchemize and move that energy through. Because if I shove it down, try and control it or push it away, it's going to go into suffering.
Mm,
So that whole concept is about like inviting people into the idea that pain is their power. And on the other side of it is just a level of confidence and embodiment that is really potent.
Mm. As opposed to most people are trying to avoid pain and then they're judging it when they have it. And then, right, as opposed to actually receiving it as a gift. And then I think you use the word
Yeah.
alchemizing it, right?
Yeah.
Alchemizing, transmuting it into
Yeah.
power. Um,
Dude, the lengths that we go to avoid pain is wild. Like
oh yeah.
the energy that we expend trying to avoid the thing that is going to give us power is wild. Like, it's like we don't want to feel unworthy, so we're going to work our tits off 18 hours a day to not feel unworthy.
Mm,
Versus, let me just go to this feeling of unworthiness and let me just heal this at the root so that the actions that I take aren't coming from a place of lack and proving energy and trying to feel worthy. I'm already worthy. So then the actions that I do are coming from a place of worthiness. And the energy of that is so much better because we can feel it when people are operating from that proving energy or that forcing energy or that I'm not good
yeah.
enough energy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which I think
Yeah.
most people, most of us are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the word somatic, I brought that up earlier that I had a somatic experience during
Yeah.
my, intense breathwork session. I think our world is very obsessed with mindset. I would say that a lot of work that I do, I talk a lot about mindset. And so I would love to hear you talk about why somatic healing. So, the difference between mindset and somatic healing, and why I've heard you say that's the missing link in true transformation. Unpack that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way that I've uh, thought about it is a classic 80-20 principle.
Okay.
I believe that 20% of the work needs to be in the mind and then the
Mm,
rest of it is in the body. Now,
interesting.
if we change our mind without changing the energy and the trauma and the stories in the body, then we're just going to be going on the personal development roller coaster over and over and over and over again. And before I found breathwork, this is what I did. So from about like 17 to 22, I was such a mindset junkie. I read all the books, I did all the things, I did all the conferences, I did all the seminars, I did everything. I couldn't nothing was below the neck though. Everything was up here. And
Okay.
so then I got so frustrated because I'm like, why isn't this working? Like, what's going on here? Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm really smart. Why can't I get my shit together?
Yeah.
And so when I found breath work and I started looking really at the science of somatic healing, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with that word, somatic,
Yeah.
the root word is soma. Soma means body in Greek. So it's basically body based healing.
Okay.
And the mind and the body work together so beautifully. So I love doing mindset work to decide the vision, right? Of where I want to go. Decide the thoughts of like what thoughts are congruent with where I want to go, right?
Mm,
That's very much mindset work, the affirmations.
yeah.
But then if we don't get into the body and feel through all of the parts of us that are not on board with that vision, we are going to constantly sabotage ourselves. And we see this all the time, right? Of people getting success. And then that part of them's like, nope, you're not good enough for that. Remember what your dad said about this? And we bring forth this timeline, this bag of trauma, which stops us from really doing the amazing things in the world. And so mindset is great. We have to have the
Mm,
structure, but if we really want to create sustainable transformation, sustainable, that's the word, not up, down, up, down, but
yeah.
sustainable,
Yeah.
we have to do somatic practices like breath work. And the reason why I'm such an advocate for breath work as far as a entry point for people to get into somatic work is because it's free, it's accessible, anyone can do it. And God gave us that gift to do it. We just forgot, you know?
Real quick, give it. You mentioned it's one. What are other somatic practices, just so people have like a
Yeah,
spectrum of, oh, okay,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
we'll stick with breath work. Yeah.
So there's like somatic movement, right?
Okay.
Of like moving the body, like even like punching pillows is a
Mm,
somatic experience, right?
okay.
Dancing, right? Using
Mm,
using the body to like dance and thrash. Like sometimes I'll just put on like Jimmy Eat World, The Middle. Like that's
yeah.
like, I don't know. This is one of my favorite songs. And I'm just like, I'll just like shake it out or shaking or moving or pushing against walls. It's anything where like the body is involved. Um, Energetic healing. So anyone who has ever done any like energy healing or Reiki or all of that stuff, that's working with the body, right?
Mm.
Anything that's outside of the mind and into the body is a somatic practice.
Well, and I'll simply say I just started running again, very short runs. I don't enjoy running. I did a marathon a long time ago and I'm like, that's my last thing. I'm never doing anything again. But I literally just started. My gate is probably maybe a quarter mile, half mile from our house. And so every day I just like, I'm going to start small. I'm going to jog to the gate and I'm going to
Yeah.
jog back. And today was day like 4 or 5, right? But
Yeah.
here's my point. On my very first run, I immediately just started praying without consciously
Mhm.
deciding I was going to pray. I just started praying and thanking God. And it was so what you're saying is right. Like for those that haven't experienced somatic, and again, it's for me,
Yeah.
it's a relatively foreignish term. I'm
Yeah.
not big into it, but the little glimpses I've had is like, oh, when you actually get into the body, it activates emotions, it activates spirituality, it activates mental clarity, right? That
Mhm.
doesn't happen when you're on the couch going, how do I have a better mindset and think
Totally.
differently and be positive, right?
Yes, 100%. Even something that's simple, how is being like let's just use gratitude for an example, right?
Yeah.
The practice of like, I'm grateful for my husband. Like, I'm grateful for my husband. I'm just saying it,
Yeah.
right? Versus like taking a moment and just being like, oh my goodness, like like it almost makes me emotional even doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so grateful for my husband. Like, oh, like
Yeah.
I felt it. Like I let it
Yeah.
go out of the mind. That made me cry because I really am
Oh,
grateful for
that was a
it.
real life instantaneous case study for what we're
Exactly.
talking about.
Exactly. And so it's like really feeling it in your body. And what this does, like gratitude is so powerful when it's done on an energetic and body level. Because what that does is it just creates momentum and we just get more of what we desire, right? That's the beautiful thing about this whole thing. It's like whatever we desire to have in life or attract in
Yeah.
life, just be grateful for what you have already. Like, if you want more money, are you grateful for the $14 that you have right now? Whatever it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really taking a moment. So like that's essentially it. It's like getting out of the mind and allowing yourself to really truly feel the energy in your body. And for some people, the body growing up was a very unsafe place to be. Like maybe you're a highly sensitive person and your emotions completely overwhelmed you. So the
Mm.
intelligence of your body was like, we're never doing that again. And you just became extremely heady. And so you
Yeah.
overthink, overanalyze, over
Yeah.
people please, over. So the path of
That's me.
getting back into the body, yeah, yeah. So the journey of refeeling needs to be titrated, meaning a little tiny bit at a time, a little tiny bit at a time, refeeling a little tiny bit at a time. Because it
Mm.
because it can be very scary for people to feel after they've been numb their entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. I could talk to you all day. We'll have you on again. I have one more question that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Um, and it's for some immediacy for someone listening. So if someone is listening right now and they're feeling stuck or burnout or lost, what
Mm.
is one embodied somatic practice that they can do today to start coming
Yeah.
back to themselves?
So the triactive breath, which is the breath that we teach in the Miracle Morning Breathwork track that Hal talked about,
Mm.
which is it's a three-part breath. So you want to breathe into the belly first, up into the chest, out through the mouth. So continual conscious breathing for 3 minutes. Make sure that that exhale is longer than the two inhales. What this does
Mm.
is that will activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. It tells the body that we're safe. When the body feels safe, then we can be creative and embodied and feel amazing. After 3 minutes, take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold the breath at the top. And when you're holding the breath at the top, invitation to squeeze your arms, squeeze your legs, like really shoot the energy up through the top of your head. This will activate the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve in our body. And it's where our sort of spirituality and science combine in our body. and it really shifts our perception of ourself in the world. So that's just like a really simple
Yeah.
3-minute exercise to take you out of fear, back into love, and just really feel a little bit deeper in your body.
Amazing. And y'all, you can go into the Miracle Morning, into the, what's it called? The premium plan or whatever. You can try that for free for 7 days, and that's got the 30-minute track from Samantha. Samantha, what is the best place for people to connect with you? You've got the Pause Breathwork app for anyone that wants to go really deep into breathwork. You've got the mastermind. Like, what's the best place for people to get more
Yeah.
Samantha Skelly? Because I'm going there as soon as we're done with this conversation. I want more
I love
Samantha
it. So
Skelly in my life.
I love it. Let's go. Let's go. The best place to hang out with me is on Instagram. So
Ah,
I share everything that I'm up to there, the events that I'm doing, the app. The main thing that I do is I teach people to become breathwork facilitators. So we have a
mm,
breathwork facilitator
mm,
academy, and it's a beautiful journey because it combines, it's a spiritual and emotional journey for you for 6 months. And I'm also teaching you the curriculum of how to become a trauma informed breathwork facilitator. So
wow.
that's the main thing that I do. And I just like, we've certified thousands of people in 40 different countries in that method. And
Amazing.
that's how I'm spreading the gift of breath is through my facilitator. So if that's of interest to you, come over to Instagram, come say hi, and I'll share more about that.
Amazing. And your
Yeah.
Instagram handle is what?
My first and last name, Samantha Skelly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Skelly.
You got it.
Samantha, I'm so it was not an accident. It was a divine reconnection that you and I met in the green
Mm,
room at the Destiny Fest. I
totally.
mean, literally Destiny Fest. It was a destiny
So
moment. I
perfect.
mean, right? Yeah. How could you not have one of those? At least one of those at that event. So
So
uh,
perfect. So
I have
perfect.
such positive,
Mm.
loving feelings towards you. I'm so grateful that we got to do this today.
Ditto, dude. I was so grateful to run into you last week. So, so, so good. Thank
Awesome.
you
We'll
for
keep
sharing this work with your community. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Keep doing the work that you're doing. It's making such a difference. Goal achievers and members of the Miracle Morning community, follow Samantha Skelly on Instagram and just check out all the things that she is doing. I am so grateful for you. I'm grateful for her. And I love you so much. I'll talk to y'all next week.